Rome taught him everything they knew. They educated him, armed him, and trusted him as one of their own commanders. He was the perfect poster boy for their civilizing mission, the ideal tamed barbarian who had seen the light of Roman culture, but that trust was a weapon, and he was about to turn it against them, leading 3 of Rome's most elite legions into a slaughter that would forever shatter the empire's grandest ambitions. This is the story of how one man's perfect betrayal crumbled an empire's dream. Picture the world at the dawn of the 1st century AD. The Roman Empire, under its first ever emperor Augustus, is an absolute force of nature. Its legions are the most disciplined and deadly fighting force the world has ever seen, the sharp end of a relentless policy of expansion. From the deserts of Syria to the Atlantic coast, Roman eagles fly over conquered lands. Now Augustus has his sights set on a new grand prize, Germania Magna, or Greater Germany. The goal was ambitious, but in Roman eyes, totally inevitable. They planned to push the empire's frontier from the Rhine River all the way to the Elbe, turning the vast, dark forests of Germania into a tidy, tax-paying Roman province. Early campaigns had already set up a string of forts, and the local tribes were slowly being brought into line, paying taxes and even sending their sons to fight for the Roman army. To finish the job, Augustus appointed a man named Publius Quinctilius Varus as governor. Varus was an experienced politician but not a seasoned general, and he was tasked with slapping Roman laws and taxes on the newly conquered people. He had a formidable force to back him up. 3 veteran legions, the 17th, 18th, and 19th, plus thousands of support troops. All told, he commanded somewhere between 15,000 and 20,000 soldiers. From Rome's perspective, the job was basically done. Their dream of a vast northern province was within reach. They believed their power was absolute, their legions invincible. They were wrong. So, what was the linchpin of Rome's strategy? It all came down to one man, a young Germanic chieftain named Arminius. As the son of a powerful leader, Arminius had been taken to Rome as a noble hostage when he was just a boy, a common practice to keep conquered tribes loyal. But Arminius didn't just put up with his gilded captivity, he thrived. He got a full Roman military education, learned to speak flawless Latin, and served with distinction in the Roman army. For his service, he was given the incredible honor of Roman citizenship and promoted to the rank of eques or knight, a huge deal for someone born outside the empire. He was, in Roman eyes, the ultimate success story. He was living proof that even the fiercest warrior from the darkest forest could be civilized and made a loyal subject of Rome. When Arminius returned to Germania, he became Governor Varus's right-hand man. Varus, who was overconfident and pretty dismissive of the local culture, leaned on Arminius for everything, trusting him to be the bridge to the various Germanic tribes. He saw Arminius not as a German chief, but as a fellow Roman officer. That was his fatal mistake. Because while Arminius was playing the part of a loyal Roman, his heart was still with his own people. He watched as Roman taxes and arrogance chafed at the fiercely independent tribes, and he secretly started building an alliance. Using the very trust Rome had placed in him, he began plotting a rebellion on a scale the empire couldn't possibly imagine. In the late summer of 9 AD, as Varus and his legions were packing up their summer camp to head back to their winter base on the Rhine, the trap was ready to spring. Arminius had spent months secretly uniting tribes that were traditional enemies, convincing them to set aside their old rivalries for one decisive blow against Rome. His plan was a masterclass in deception built on his insider knowledge of Roman military procedure. First, he came to Varus with a fake story about a small, local uprising that needed to be stamped out immediately. This was the bait. Incredibly, another German noble named Segestes, who was actually Arminius's father-in-law, went directly to Varus and exposed the entire plot. He told him everything. but Varus, blinded by his faith in his Romanized friend, just brushed the warning off as petty slander. He chose to believe Arminius. Convinced by the ruse, Varus diverted his entire army. Arminius suggested a shortcut through the Teutoburg Forest, a place the Romans didn't know, full of dense woods, trackless swamps, and narrow gullies. To complete the deception, Arminius and his cavalry rode ahead, claiming they were going to rally loyal allies. Instead, they raced to join the thousands of warriors hiding in the trees, waiting for the legions to walk straight into the kill zone. The Roman army, a column of soldiers, baggage carts, and camp followers stretching for miles, marched right into the heart of the ambush. The attack began almost as soon as they entered the forest. As a torrential downpour turned the ground into a muddy quagmire, the first Germanic warriors slammed into the stretched-out Roman column. The Romans were caught completely off guard. In the dense, hostile terrain, they couldn't form their famous, disciplined battle lines. The path was too narrow, the woods too thick, and the mud was everywhere. Over the next 3 days, what started as a battle turned into a systematic slaughter. The Germanic tribesmen used their home field advantage perfectly. They had even built a long earthen wall hidden by the trees where they could launch javelins and then retreat safely. They hit the Roman column from all sides, striking hard and then melting back into the forest before the Romans could even think about a counter-attack. The baggage train bogged down, blocking any chance of an organized retreat, and the Roman cavalry was cut to pieces in the swampy ground. Roman discipline, the very bedrock of their army, completely fell apart. The fighting was chaotic, hand to hand, and unbelievably brutal. As his losses mounted, Varus finally realized the full extent of the betrayal and the hopelessness of his situation. On the final day, wounded and with his army disintegrating around him, he and his senior officers fell on their own swords rather than be captured. The aftermath was a scene of utter carnage. An estimated 15,000 to 20,000 Roman soldiers were killed. Survivors were hunted down, enslaved, or ritually sacrificed by the victorious tribes. But the most devastating blow of all was the capture of the sacred eagle standards of all 3 legions, the Aquilae. For Rome, this was the ultimate symbol of shame and defeat. Arminius hadn't just defeated a Roman army, he had wiped it off the map. When news of the Clades Variana, the Varian disaster, finally reached Rome, it sent waves of panic and disbelief through the capital. Losing 3 entire legions, more than 10% of the empire's total military strength, was a catastrophe not seen in generations. People were genuinely terrified that the victorious Germans, led by Arminius, would now pour across the Rhine and invade Gaul. The Emperor Augustus was reportedly inconsolable. The historian Suetonius wrote that for months the old emperor refused to cut his hair or shave, a traditional sign of deep mourning. He was supposedly heard wandering the halls of his palace, banging his head against a door and crying out, "Quinctilius Varus, give me back my legions." The strategic fallout was immediate and absolute. All Roman settlements east of the Rhine were abandoned. The dream of a Roman province stretching to the Elbe was dead, shattered in the mud of the Teutoburg Forest. The legion numbers, Xititeenth, Xulteenth, and Torteenth, were considered so disgraced that they were never used again. This disaster marked the abrupt end of Augustan expansion and was a psychological blow from which the empire never truly recovered. The story of Arminius's rebellion is a powerful reminder that trust can be a deadly weapon and that even the mightiest empires have their limits. If you find these pivotal moments from history as fascinating as we do, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration of the past. In the years that followed, Rome was obsessed with revenge. Augustus's successor, Tiberius, sent his adopted son, the brilliant general Germanicus, back into Germania with a massive army. From 14 to 16 AD, Germanicus led a series of brutal campaigns deep into enemy territory. He found the site of the battle and gave a proper burial to the bleached bones of Varus's men, and he even managed to recover 2 of the 3 lost legionary eagles. He defeated Arminius in open battle, but these victories were incredibly costly and in the end hollow. Tiberius, realizing that the permanent conquest of Germania simply wasn't worth the staggering cost in blood and treasure, recalled Germanicus for good. Rome would never again make a serious attempt to conquer the lands east of the Rhine. That river became the fixed border of the empire for the next 400 years. As for Arminius, he was assassinated a few years later, a victim of rivalries among his own people, but his legacy was secure. By using Rome's own training against it, he had single-handedly stopped the world's greatest military machine in its tracks. He proved that Roman power was not limitless and that its dream of civilizing the world had a fatal flaw. The Battle of the Teutoburg Forest was more than a military defeat. It was the crumbling of a dream, ensuring that the heart of Europe would develop on its own terms, forever changing the course of history.